In this lesson, I have students work through stations about slope, and this seemed to be the most difficult station for students. They had to do a lot of trial and error, and we talked about the properties of parallelograms, of how those properties could help them find the vertices of the parallelogram. They were given slopes of the opposite sides, but also they need to remember that a parallelogram has opposite sides parallel, and that they have opposite sides that are also congruent. So from one point, we started counting a slope. -2 had to be the slope of a pair of opposite sides. So that's up 2 and 1 to the right, 1 to the left, up 2, 1 to the left. And if we looked at the triangle, or what formed a right triangle around that, we could kind of see what the length of the hypotenuse is. So that is the vertical is 4 units, and the horizontal of that right triangle is 2. And we can see that the side of the parallelogram is forming the hypotenuse of that triangle. So when we get to the opposite side, we also want that size of triangle so that the sides of the parallelogram would be congruent. Instead of using distance formula, we also talked about in the radical unit how you could use the Pythagorean theorem. The other side I want to be the slope of 2/3, so I want up 2 and 3 to the right, up 2 and 3 to the right, up 2, 3 to the right. And if I want to see the length of that line segment, if I don't want to use distance formula, I can form the triangle around that also. And that would be a triangle length of so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 9. And that's going to form the other side of the parallelogram. So I know its opposite side also will have to have a triangle that would form where the hypotenuse would be the same length of that, of a 6 by 9 on the leg lengths. And so if we had, the other side had to be, the opposite side had to have a slope of -2 from what we previously did. And so we would have went down to 1 to the right, down to 1 to the right, and we can also see that that would form a 4 by 2 triangle for the legs, so that those sides would be congruent. So that's going to be a 4 by 2, and the hypotenuse is formed with that side of the parallelogram. That. And then the last side, we know it had to have a slope of 2/3 again, and that's going to be up 2 and 3 to the right, up 2, 3 to the right, and up 2 and 3 to the right, and that would form the other side of the parallelogram. Again, we could check it to see if they were congruent with the triangle, right triangle. And so if we check that, that would be a 6 by 9 right triangle. And so that formed a parallelogram.